The theory that Brahman alone appears as the world, just as rope appears as snake, is meant only for the entertainment of the childish and ignorant. The enlightened ones rest forever in the truth, which does not even appear to be different. The theory that Brahman appears as the world. Well, let's put this into context. First of all, we're encouraged to cultivate dispassion and disengage from our attachments to our ideas about things. But there's a danger of a polarisation being set up there. And at some point, you need to realise that the world as it presents itself to us is an expression of the infinite. But then we need to go beyond that as well, and then realise the non-notional nature of everything. We rest in non-notionality. Non-notionality. Once we've gone beyond our notions, once we've embraced everything that's happening, then we rest in non-notionality. We're no longer caught up even in the notion that everything is a notion. We're simply in touch with the stream of experiencing. Valmiki continued, ignorant people who dislike seclusion are sunk in sorrow, and occasionally they may smile. The knowers of the truth, on the other hand, are happy and smiling at all times. So those who dislike seclusion are those who need others for their happiness. They are unable to be happy in themselves. And the knower of truth is different. Although it seems a bit of a stereotype to say they'll be happy and smiling at all times. I think the happiness and smiling is a bit subtler than it might be usually understood. The truth or the self is subtle, and hence it appears to be veiled by ignorance. But even if you believe in the atomic substantiality of the world, the self does not go away. Why then do you grieve? The unreal, ignorance, etc. does not come into being at any time, nor does the reality of the self ever cease to be. It's the one constant thing it can always be turned to. The infinite plenitude can be turned to at any moment. Fullness, satisfaction is always available, no matter what else is going on. However, on account of various reasons, confusion arises. In order to overcome this, worship the Lord, who is the preceptor of the whole universe. Your evil karmas have not fallen away from you, but they have become the noose with which you are bound. Till your mind becomes no mind, sattva, adopt the adoration of name and form. After that you'll be established in the contemplation of the Absolute. Then behold, even for an instant, the inner self with the self in the inner light. What we've got next here is a more conventional spiritual teaching. I think the teachings on self-enquiry, unless you get it straight away, you can come away from it feeling rather frustrated and rather empty even. And if that's the case, you can get on with more conventional spiritual practices. There's nothing wrong with that. Traditional spiritual practices are concerned generally with mental, emotional development. This isn't the term in which I normally use the word spiritual. Spiritual has got lots of different meanings. I've been using the word spiritual in the sense of self-enquiry. And self-enquiry has got nothing to do with spiritual and emotional development. But spiritual and emotional development is what many people are looking for. And they do it under the name of spirituality. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think it is important to be quite clear. And I think what we've got in the next few paragraphs from Valmiki is a teaching on mental and emotional development. It's about training the body and mind and leaving open the possibility of self-enquiry, of realization through self-enquiry. Self-enquiry's got nothing to do with emotional and mental development, although after having some realization, some insight, you might find it's actually quite a good idea to get on with some emotional and mental development. The point is, at some point, to behold the inner self with the self, even for an instant. Behold the inner self with the self in the inner light. And the inner light is the light of the self. Supreme is attained by one who through self-effort and right actions has earned the grace of the Lord. Well, this whole thing about grace was discussed very early on in the Yoga Vasishta. Past habits and tendencies are very strong. Hence, mere self-effort is inadequate. Even the gods are unable to defy the inevitable fate. Everyone is subject to the world order, niyati, which is beyond thought and expression. Well, this attitude was firmly denounced very early on in the Yoga Vasishta. It was denounced right back in the early chapters of section 1. But the thing is, we do need help. Just resorting to scriptures is part of the help. We try and create better conditions for ourselves. We use all means at our disposal to realize the self. So self-effort means using whatever means are at our disposal. It isn't something that you can do in a vacuum.